I challenged myself to level all classes in WoW Classic to 60 without dying a single time, but I create my characters completely at random. The challenge started with a self-found Frost-only mage that was not allowed to use a guide like Rested XP and that had to use engineering as the main profession. In the last episode my mage was granted some insane lucky loot in Ragefire Chasm, but because I ran with a group full of retards, I wasn't able to make it out alive. So that meant I was sent back to the drawing board, also known as the spinning wheels. Fate chose an orc rogue this time. Again self-found and again engineering is my main profession. Although undead is the superior race when it comes to being a rogue, due to their access to Will of the Forsaken that can take you out of any charm, sleep and fear, being an orc isn't that bad either. Orc has a pretty powerful ratio in hardiness, which should not be underestimated. It increases your chance to resist any kind of stunning ability by 25%. This can be life-saving in many ways. Not only that, but orcs also have Blood Fury, increasing base melee attack power by 25% for 15 seconds. This is a very powerful cooldown that I will be using as frequently as possible with my other rogue cooldowns. All in all, I'm not complaining so far, although I still had to pick a random rogue starting achievement that will make the run more challenging. For rogues there are 3 official starting achievements to choose from. The I Can See You achievement forbids the use of stealth or vanish. The Shift achievement forbids the use of any melee weapon other than daggers. And the Not So Deadly achievement forbids the use of weapon enhancements such as poisons, sharpening stones, enchants and weapon oils. Out of these 3, the I Can See You achievement is probably the hardest, blocking access to one of the best free out of jail cards in the game, Vanish. Also, not having stealth will downgrade my rogue to a measly warrior ripoff if you ask me. So I spinned the wheel, and of course, the burden of the I Can See You achievement was placed upon me. In other words, Vanish, the ultimate ability to save yourself as a rogue, was off the table. After accepting my fate, I started the journey, because after all, this is supposed to be fun, right? If you're a WoW Classic player yourself, you know the drill by now. Finish the starting zone first, head to Sen'jin village to get a buttload of quests and the important sticky glue that renders a target unable to move for 10 seconds. Go to Razor Hill to pick up more quests, mining, engineering and first aid. Enter Terragard Keep, kill Lieutenant Benedict, kill Quillboars, go back to the Echo Isles for the Raptor Axe and to put down Zelazane to get the must-have faintly glowing skull, a unique item that steals life from your opponent. When I hit level 10, it was time to take a look at the talent tree. Both combat and subtlety are amazing leveling specs. Combat brings more damage, while subtlety brings more safety. But since I cannot use stealth or vanish, a lot of subtlety talents are useless. Which is a shame because there's huge benefits in subtlety to pick up preparation for the ultimate safety tool, while picking up Ghostly Strike, Serrated Blades and Emerage. If I choose that route, I have to put 5 points in opportunity, which is not a waste because I can still backstab using Gouge or when I'm in a group. Then 2 points in Sleight of Hand, which is useful, but then I need to waste 3 talent points to get to the lower tier of the tree. So I decided to go full combat, after wasting 2 points on remorseless attacks in the assassination tree first. Combat is more in your face and about doing the most damage I can do. With powerful talents like Blade Flurry, which allows me to cleave another target, while also increasing my attack speed by 20% for 15 seconds. Adrenaline Rush will increase my energy regeneration by 100% for 15 seconds. Precision, which gives me a higher chance to hit with my weapons. Improved Sprint, which makes Sprint remove all movement impairing effects. And a myriad of other talents that buff up my weapons, depending on which I can get my hands on. I also get access to Riposte, which is a very strong ability that allows you to deal 150% weapon damage, while also disarming the target for 6 seconds. This ability can only be used after you parry, which happens a lot, and it's only a 6-second cooldown. After all the talent shenanigans, I leveled some mining, engineering and first aid, left the city and went back to a familiar place. Skull Rock. We all know this dreaded cave. It's probably the place where most low-level horde characters get killed. Of course, that means I need to enter it, although it is slightly easier compared to the mage I leveled before, because now I have access to 2 spell-interrupting abilities, Gouge and a dynamite that stuns. This makes killing the Burning Blade apprentices much easier, since they cannot get a cast of Shadow Bolt through. Remember how lucky I got to get the rare Lieutenant's Insignia last run? Well, this run wasn't that different. I could still see the exit of the cave when the item dropped. I got the hell out of there, killing harpies and collecting sacks. The harpy quest rewarded me with a decent one-handed sword, and I decided to travel to the Undercity to train the one-handed sword skill. While I was there, I made use of the opportunity to pick up the quest for Ragefire Chasm. When I was back in Durotar, it was time to visit an old friend, Fizzle Darkstorm. This time it was a bit of a different story, because I play a melee class and I can't really get to him without aggroing the other mobs guarding him, so I had to lure him out of his standing ground. It wasn't flawless, me not interrupting his shadow bolt with gouge to name something, and it was a clear example of how strong the faintly glowing skull is. After an hour of grinding for Kron's amulet, I got my hands on it and made my way back to Orgrimmar. You know, doing the usual Ragefire Chasm quest run, licking Troll's feet over and over again. It caused me to level up though, and I was granted two very welcome abilities, Kick and Parry. With Kick in my arsenal, it was time to go back to Skull Rock to finish off Gazus. Now I had an even easier time to beat the Shadow Bolt casters in there, and I paved myself through the cave without any real resistance. When I came to the spawning location of Gazus, he appeared to be downstairs, so I had to fight my way back there. While doing that, I teamed up with two nice fellas, and together we put an end to Gazus, and I was granted the Burning Shadows achievement by killing Gazus before reaching level 13. Then we followed the usual path to the Barrens, doing the quest when I needed to destroy the Demon Seed. Normally I wouldn't waste any time explaining that quest again, but this time things went a bit differently. When I arrived at the top, I wanted to enter the cave as usual, but I got an alert that Rathorian, a rare elite, was found. He was orange to me, and according to my own rules, I try not to mess with orange and red mobs. On the other hand, I don't like unfinished business, and who knows, maybe he dropped something sweet. The guy was no joke, but with evasion up, I killed him pretty smoothly. And man, I was glad I did, because he dropped a damn sweet cloak. Just look at this beauty. Then it was back to the usual routine, killing plain striders and raptors. When I returned to the crossroads, Lizeric, a neutral goblin, was there, and I checked to see if he had anything worthwhile for sale. He did have a feral blade and some lesser healing potions, so I scraped all my coins together to be able to buy these welcome items. This is another aspect I like about playing hardcore. In normal vanilla, you would never bother checking vendors like Lizeric. As far as I know, no biz items are sold by NPCs in vanilla WoW, but because I'm playing with the self-found rules, I'm depending on the world to give me good gear upgrades. Playing with the self-found rules on hardcore kind of feels like playing a slot machine, where suddenly you can get lucky and win a big prize and get that shot of dopamine that you would never get when you can just buy and trade any item you can think of. Anyway, I tested my brand new feral blade on a bunch of zebras and raptors while I made my way to Ratchet. I picked up the quest there and fought my way back to the centaurs and lions. I then got a timed quest that sent me to Thunderbluff, so I undertook the long journey, picking up the flight path in Captoraggio and some quests in Mulgore along the way. Oh, good old Mulgore. I can't wait to roll a Tauren, because I think this zone is just gorgeous. Enough reason to do some green quests there and visit Thunderbluff to run some errands. When I hit level 14, it was time to visit the Rogue Trainer in Orgrimmar. There were two new spells to train, a new rank of Sinister Strike and a new spell, Expose Armor. You have to realize, I never played a rogue before, so most spells are completely new to me. So before I spent money on Expose Armor, I did some quick research to see what it does and if it's worth my money. I found out that Expose Armor is probably one of the most confusing abilities in the history of WoW, because without context, the tooltip doesn't give enough information to understand when it is or is not worth using. Even 20 years after the release of vanilla WoW, there's still considerable misunderstanding around it. There are mainly three general rules. 1. Don't use it in party if a warrior is tanking. 2. Don't use it to kill normal mobs. And 3. Don't use it against heavily armored targets. The first rule is most widely known because it becomes evident right away. Cinder armor is fundamental for warriors to generate threat, and not only does it not stack with
Boring!
To summarize, there is a place for exposed armor, but for now I decided to save the money and train the spell maybe another time. After finishing my rounds in Orgrimmar, I flew back to Mulgore to complete some more green quests, and I felt I was ready for payback time. Taragaman the Hungerer was responsible for killing my mage, and justice needed to be served on this dude. I searched for a party while I was doing some of the Kolkar and Harpy quests, and I had my first tricky situation where Sprint saved me from dying. When the group filled up, I flew to Orgrimmar and entered Ragefire Chasm once more. Will I survive this time? You'll find out in the next episode.